This behind the scenes video contains spoilers for my latest short film Remnants, so make sure you go watch that first. I'm Ethan Hunt. I'm the writer and director for Remnants. Remnants follows a teenager who discovers a lantern in his house, and as he shines it around, it reveals remnants of a different world that exists among his. The glow from the lantern fuses the worlds together so that the teenager is able to interact with artifacts from that past, and the elements of that world are able to interact with him. The orange lantern is the heart of Remnants. The prop that was used is a genuine railroad lantern from the 1860s. It actually only has 3 sides to it, so one of the big challenges was maneuvering the lantern so that all 3 sides were facing the camera for every single shot. To craft that soft and moody glow, I attached some pieces of vellum paper on the inside of the lantern and placed one of those small aperture MC lights inside. They have this really cool feature that emulates a flickering fire effect, and that was perfect for this film. I really wanted the orange glow from the lantern to really stand out and kind of become a character in and of itself. The whole color palette of the film falls back into this grayscale vibe, which I think really accentuates the lantern and its presence. Everywhere the character goes, the lantern provides a halo of safety around him, and I wanted it to seem like if he were to leave the safety of that glow, that he can't control the situation that he's in. Remnants has a ton of visual effects shots sprinkled throughout the entirety of the film, and contrary to popular opinion, I'm a huge fan of visual effects. I view them as just another way to be able to tell the story and enhance the story when things just cannot be achieved in camera. I find that a lot of people, though, really don't like them, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think the best type of visual effects are invisible visual effects, and those never get any credit because no one really knows they exist half of the time. This shot here in Remnants is clearly a visual effects shot because there's no way in camera to achieve an effect where as he turns the lantern around, something appears behind him. And my thought is that audiences would know that, and if they recognize that something is a visual effects shot, more than likely their brain is gonna point out all the little imperfections in the shot, all the things that look a little bit off, and that illusion is then ruined. But for this shot specifically, once it's revealed that it's a VFX shot here, everything on the screen is practical. There are no longer visual effects in this frame at this moment. The visual effects are all incorporated here, back when the audience has no reason to expect that it's a VFX shot at all. This makes it much less likely for people to notice that the background has actually been replaced and that artificial light reflections have been added to the wall in the back. I found that this technique leads to a lot less people saying the CGI or the VFX sucks, because once they know VFX is involved, everything they're looking at is practical. Whenever you're making a film, you're always gonna encounter problems, and one of the big ones was me realizing that the lantern was the only key light for my character. Prior to the shoot, I was searching for the best angle to hold up the lantern so that it illuminates my face enough to still show emotion while still making sure it's not overexposed or too much to the side or too much to the front. And it started to get a little heavy. I probably need to work out a little bit more. Another problem I ran into was while I was filming the kitchen scene, a flag that was controlling the light fell over and I didn't realize it while I was acting in the scene. This led to a very artificial looking shaft of moonlight that was shining through the window. So in post, I had to do a ton of rotoscoping. Another problem that I had was having the lantern actually shut off in the middle of a shot and then turn on in the middle of the shot while I was also acting. Because the flame from the lantern is just an aperture MC light, I had to use the aperture app to turn on and off the light in the middle of a take. It took a little bit of practice, but it ended up working out. Jump scares are definitely not new to the horror genre, but I find that dread of waiting for a jump scare really creates a ton of tension and suspense. I love playing with expectations, and this final scene in Remnants I think really encapsulates that. I found that the best jump scares tend to happen when the audience's mind is busy trying to answer questions that the film is presenting to them. With this final scene here, it's quite clear that something is coming. Once the noose is shown and then the sheet is shown, my goal was to hopefully have audiences start to think about what the implications of that would be. Is he about to become the scary thing? Is the noose gonna come out and grab him? Is the sheet gonna lift up over him? Is that the same sheet that that figure was once wearing? Now the figure's just walking around uncovered, once they get that new information and those new questions, and they're actively trying to figure things out and piece things together, I think they're more vulnerable to being scared. Because I've seen this film a million times when I've been editing it, sometimes I'm completely zoned out and not engaged. And when I come to this part of the film, it sometimes gets me because I'm not even paying attention. The creepy figure in this film is just a blend of different products I found at Home Depot. And here's this video of me looking like a crazy person painting blood onto this painter's canvas thing. This shot right here is just me standing on top of a step stool that I removed in post. And this shot here just uses the clone stamp tool to create this repetitive eye effect here. I did struggle a lot with the pre-production side of Remnants, and there's only so many scenarios you can have with a singular character in a house and have it still feel fresh, creative, fun, and original. When I found that I had access to this old lantern, I forced myself to create a story just around that element and see where it could go. Production on this film went pretty smoothly as far as I remember. I think a lot of the times when you're working with the crew, you have this pressure to keep moving because everyone's time is valuable. But when you're working alone, you kind of get this false mindset that you can spend as much time as you want on this project because no one else is investing their time. And I think that's a terrible mindset to get into, and I struggle with that a lot during Remnants. I'm very much a perfectionist, as I think a lot of filmmakers are, and there would be times where I would just be looking at this one shot and making tiny little adjustments over and over and over and over, and it just became this tedious process that was not very productive. What I was realizing is you just gotta move on. I would give myself these hard deadlines, like these 8 shots need to be finished by the end of this day. They're not carrying over into the next day. Like, the film just has to be done at this point. So that is the majority of the behind the scenes for Remnants. I probably did leave out a couple of things. It has been over a year since I shot the film. So if there's anything I left out or anything you want to know about, please ask down in the comments below. I really do want to thank you all for the support. It really does mean a lot to me. I think filmmaking is very much a mental challenge as much as it is a creative challenge. There's gonna be a point in every project that makes you want to stop and makes you question, why am I even doing this? So the support from you guys definitely helps me still be able to create these things. Just know it's very much appreciated. As for the future, I am working on a couple of things. Right now, I do have another short film that is currently in the editing process, and that is coming out next year. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stick around. Remnants was a crazy journey. It definitely wasn't as long as the 2-year journey for Night Whispers, but I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's out. I'm glad you guys can see it. And I look forward to sharing more projects with you guys in the future, and I'll see you then.